Hey guys, I'm back with another video. Today we'll be doing what if Eren was the Winter Soldier. So, y'all guys didn't answer my question, so I don't know. So, it's the last chance, or it's the last chance if. So, if y'all guys wanted a double upload of what if Deku had Venom, then comment down below you want a part 2 now today. Or I'm not gonna do it if I don't see it. So, see ya. Okay. So we start this with if at we start this with if seeing people. One was standing up, the other was crouching. The one in the middle was sitting down and letting his feet hang off the wall of the surface. The other was standing up and another was standing up, a little bit shorter than the others. This was Irwin, Harney Titan Girl, Levi, and the one in the middle was Eren. Eren Yeager. The Prince of the Walls, or the King, depends on what you want to say. He refers himself as a prince, but other people refer him as a king. But enough of that. Levi said, "We getting this over with or not? I have stuff to do at home." Well, then Eren says, "Do you have a girlfriend?" And he suddenly looks at that horny Titan girl. And Levi looks at him and says, "What do you mean by that?" Alright, I'm done. I'm done trying to hide it. Levi, we know that you're dating horny Titan girl. And horny Titan girl is that scientist. I can't remember her name right now. No, it's not Sasha. No, not Sasha. Um, the the Titan girl, the one that likes um Titans and experimental Titans. Her. So yeah, and he just says it. Y'all two are dating. It's just clear facts. And Levi and the girl blush, and he's like, damn you. And Amber just says, "You're not that good at hiding it. If you were trying to, you know, going in the break room and kissing is not the best idea. The break room door is kind of doesn't make any sound. So when someone opens it, you won't hear it when it opens." They look embarrassed and blush, but Levi does not get that, let that face him, because he's the second strongest soldier. Like, he can't be caught lacking. So Eren so Eren just jumps off and says, "Meet you down there." And Eren takes out his two twin short katanas and starts slicing. He jumps on one's head and slices. He jumps on one head and says, "Boom." Then he took out his gun or pistol and shot it in its head, and its whole head exploded. He used his belt 3D maneuver gear. You remember his belt is basically a 3D maneuver gear, so there's like hooks and stuff in his belt. So yeah, and he swung to a next Titan, cutting off its head. He then twisted in the air, slicing off another's head. Then one tries to reach out for him, and then he just swings on its hand, cutting its hands in 4 pieces, and then cuts off its head. All this time, his sword has been a bright blue color. Eren then flips over that Titan and slits its neck. Eren then swings over to the next Titan, cutting off its head completely, then going down and then jumping over that Titan and slicing the other Titan's legs off. Then he jumps up and stabs his two katanas in the Titan's two eyes, and then decides. Then his hand turns a bright blue color, and he stabs it through its head. Stabs through it, stabs his hand in its brain and kills it. No, he kills it. Anyways, he kills it, and it falls to the ground. Aaron takes away his sword while it was falling to the ground and swings over to another Titan. Time skip. A few hours later, you see you see you see Levi, horny Titan girl because I don't know her name, Erwin and Aaron. Aaron stretches out his hands and just falls back, landing on a Titan's back, and he just yawns and says, "I need to get home to Historia and Mikasa. Y'all are boring." And just as he says that, medical team comes and checks if they have any injuries, and that's it. Deku goes back to his castle of sorts and sees Mikasa and Historia. Historia is reading and Mikasa is cooking for some reason. Aaron never knew Mikasa as a cooking person, but he didn't care. He kissed both Historia and Mikasa on the head and sat down on a table and put his head down. This is where but Armin looks different. Armin has his hair slicked back into a messy bun, and he's more defined and toned. But if he let down his hair, you would still think he's a girl, because like like in canon, I actually thought he was a girl for a very long time. I was just like, hey, wait, calm down, hey, isn't that a girl? Like, I looked at him for a good few hours until I realized it was a boy. So through the whole first season, I was wondering if this nigga was a boy. Not the first season, the first episode. I was like, hey, are you a boy though? I just want to know, like. So Aaron just. I was just reading a. Oh shit. Armin's just reading a book and just chilling, and they are just chilling. Next day comes around, and Mikasa and Historia are sleeping next to Aaron. Aaron is having a dream. He's talking to King Fritz. If you don't know who King Fritz is, the original King Him that had the founding titan Him, and he's talking to him, and Aaron's just looking at him, and he's saying all that he needs to destroy humanity and all this, and Aaron just says, "Shut up. You don't control me. You don't rule me. I'm my own person, and no one, and I mean no one, can tell me what to do." This is where Aaron just forms a sword in his hand and slices off King Frick's head and tells him, "Go fuck yourself," and he leaves. And then when he wakes up, Historia looks at his when he was stirring in the bed, and that caused Historia to wake up, and then Aaron wake up, and Mikasa also wake up at the same time too. Then they saw Aaron's eyes. Aaron's eye was red, but he had like white lines in his eyes, and there was 4 dots under his eye, above his cheek. The 4 dots are like the Titan marks, like forming on his eyes, but yeah. And Aaron says, "Why you're looking at me?" And they just say, "Your eyes, they're beautiful." Aaron looks at them and says, "What about my eyes?" And he looks in the mirror and he sees that his eyes have changed. Plays this no mind because he has something to do today, and he don't know how he's gonna plan out. So Aaron goes to Mikasa and Historia and says, "I just want you to know that I love you." I never really said this, but I do. I I love you. I love you no matter what. And he sighs and just walks off. Historia didn't understand what he was saying. Well, she understood what he said, but he didn't understand why he said it. it was like he was saying goodbye. And then it clicked to her. Aaron's gonna do something stupid. He knows he's gonna do something stupid. He doesn't know how it's gonna plan out. Because Aaron was always weird. He would say stuff that he really felt if he thought something was gonna go wrong. And this means he thinks something's going wrong. But it didn't always plan out the way he thought it was gonna be. Sure, he's a great tactician and a great plan, and he's great at planning stuff, but he can't particularly tell the future. So she's worried, but Aaron's left already. Aaron had on a black suit with red epaulets, with a white hat, with black shoes, and a white and gold belt. He had on medals on his left chest and the crest and the and the and a crest on his shoulder. He put on the hat, and the hat also had a crest on it. This was like a army outfit for when you're not on duty, but you just came from like your shift, and then you just like go off. Yeah, it's basically that. And then Aaron looks at a white jacket. He puts on the jacket, but he keeps his hands out of the sleeves and just lets the jacket hang on his body, being holded up by his shoulders. Then Deku walks out, and he walks onto the throne room, and there's the king that always has to be alert now because there is another king inside of him. Now Aaron doesn't know that that king is just a puppet, and he doesn't really care about them in particular. He doesn't really bother with answering questions. So Aaron sits down on. There's two thrones in the throne room. So Aaron sits down on the second one and laps his foot and just says to one of the guards, call a, and he gulps. Call a press conference with everyone if they can make it. Every single one in this, country. And he runs off and goes and delivers the message. And Aaron just sits there, pondering if this is gonna go the way he wants it to go, or the way that he doesn't want it to go. A few hours pass, 2 to 3, maybe 4, or 5, or 6. Who knows? And this is where everybody comes, and Deku's walking out from the porch, and he says, "We have been stuck in the walls for years. We have been destroyed over and over again by Titans. Now we've gotten a win over the Titans, so-called over centuries. It's been years since we ever got a win. We are no longer livestock for them, but they are livestock. But let me break it for a bit. They don't eat Titans, but they do need Titans. Well, not need them, but like they use Titans. So he's saying it as in like they at first they were using them, but no, he's using them. So yeah. So Aaron and they all cheer at that last part. Aaron says, "Then is phase 2. Separate ourselves from this island and become free." And they pause for a bit. Separate ourselves from the island? What does he mean? To put it bluntly, Titans cannot swim, nor that very well. And there's a particular place in the world that if you cannot enter it. If you do, you get shredded up and destroyed. That includes Titans. So basically, what I'm saying is, if we were to move and go to this place, and the place is called the Bermuda Triangle. Once every 2 to 3 years, the Bermuda Triangle opens a passage. Opens a passage where you could pass for a whole week. You can pass. So, what you will do? We will separate ourselves from the island. We will gather resources, gather food, gather whatever we need. We will use plasma explosions to carve a circular form out of the ground. We will leave people here. No, we won't leave people here. We will create a base on the island. So if we ever needed to reconnect back to the island, we could. And people are thinking about this. They're thinking, they know that they now have the technology and resources to do something like that, but they never really thought of it that much. And he's the one who created all of this stuff, so he should know more than anybody what he's doing. And they're just listening. And Eren says, but I can't do that with a full heart. And Deku says, what I'm gonna tell you now, I understand if you don't want to follow me anymore or don't want to listen, but my final request before all of this happens, I would like this plan, this mission, to be finished. And he starts explaining. For decades, for years, who knows how long, the royal family has been keeping a secret. I found it not too long ago. They were trying to hide it from me because they didn't raise me to keep that a secret. They didn't raise me. They never told me because sorry about that, if you could hear the background noise. It's there are people out of the walls. The royal family has not corrupted me, or it has not had any dictatorship over me. So I can say this and not care about it. The royal family has been keeping this for so long, and I feel ashamed how my ancestors has been treating. They kept technology away from us and destroyed and made us suffer. They wouldn't think in a heartbeat to betray us and cast us out. Everyone was listening. Some of them got angry and then understood where he was coming from. He didn't know all of this at first, and then he figured out this happened, and then bada bing bada boom. He's ashamed of his whole entire family at this point. How they've treated people, and they realize that he's a nice person. Like, he's a straight up nice person. Normal people of the royal family would have just straight up not given a fuck. But Eren just just was there, and he put it out bluntly. And then Aaron says, and I have another secret. There are things called Titan shifters. People that can turn into Titans at this point. And I am one of them. How it was done, I do not know for sure. But all I can remember was that my father took me. He took me to the forest and he injected me with something. After that, I blacked out. Then when I waked up, all I could find was my father's glasses. And he pulls out a little case and pulls out the glasses, and they were cracked and had blood on them. Well, dry blood at this point. And he placed in the back into the box and just put it back in his pocket. And he bit his hand, and the torso of a Titan, or his Titan, came and appeared, and they were all shocked. And then it evaporated, and then Aaron just appeared there. And then he said, "I would understand if you want me to resign or be executed." And but I have just one request, is to finish this mission, and that would be it. The crowd was silent. You could hear a pin drop. No one was speaking, and no one was doing anything. You could hear nothing. There were no cars. Not even the birds were chirping. Then one person spoke up. "We don't care. You are a leader. You are a leader, and no one else will do. Unlike your ancestors, you try. You try to help us. You try to make it better. You try to right the wrongs." And another person said, "You advanced us in technology in just a matter of 2 years, and you made sure that it wouldn't affect our daily lives by creating a place underground for us." And another person said, "You're the best king that we had ever. So why would we betray you now? You are one true leader, and there's no one else will do." And they just start cheering, and Aaron just kind of tears up. This is the first time he ever teared up since his mother died. It's he's just rubbing his eyes, and he's kind of smiling, and he's just so happy. And then he says, "Alright then, I'm going to call this Mission Cicada. The Cicada Mission." Time skip. Aaron has changed a few things, and a lot of things has changed. The place is more lively. Noisy, but lively. Sorry for that, bruh. They just be talking. Anyways, Aaron just... A lot of things have changed, and the roads were now black and with yellow stripes inside of them, and not much have changed but that. But a lot have. The scouts, or the army, or they now called, have taken back two walls, and two walls look exactly like the middle area, or the place that Aaron turned into. So basically, the two walls look like the 1980s buildings. So that's a big leap from what they were before. So Aaron's now in his office filling out some paperwork, and he ordered for like bartenders or tavern owners to come to him, and he wants to talk to them. Some of the tavern owners come and says, "Hi, my highness," or "Hello, my highness," and they bow. Aaron says there's no need to bow. and they get up. Aaron says, I want you to take on proteges to for a branch plan that I have. I'm gonna call the store that they're going to run a restaurant. They'll be serving cut up potatoes that I want to be called fries, and chicken and burgers with just basically bread and a slab of meat and sodas and a lot of other stuff. Not a non-alcoholic drinks. And they look at him and they ponder it for a bit and they says yes, my highness, and they leave. Tanks up again. Aaron was at the recruit army base, and he saw Connie, Sasha, Horseface, and Annie, Reiner, Bertolt, all of them, and he says, and he's just like in the stand, and Horseface just points him out and says, "Hey, you shouldn't be here. You should be here too." And Aaron looks back and says, "You talking to me?" He points at himself and says, "You talking to me?" And then one of the soldiers come out. There were some of those soldiers were spectating. I was online, and one of the soldiers come on, and the soldier said, "Watch your mouth, rookie." I mean, no, our recruit. Sorry, watch your mouth, recruit. You're talking to the prince, and not only the prince, the highest ranking military soldier. So watch your mouth. And he shuts up, like, bro, it's the prince. The fuck? You want to talk to the prince present and the highest ranking army person? What the fuck? Are you stupid? So Aaron says there's no need to do that. It was obviously he didn't know who I was, and there's no need to make a big fuss out of it. And he basically says, I'm only here because one of my advisors told me that I need to hang out with people my own age, which I think is bullshit because I've been hanging around 20-year-olds, 30, 40, and even fucking 50 years old since I was fucking 10. So isn't really, I don't really get why. So they're talking. So Aaron just says, "Do your drills. I honestly don't care." The day ends and Sasha still ran around, and actually Aaron was there and he was talking to Connie, and Connie was telling him that how people made fun of his hair because Connie has a afro in this one, a gray afro. And Aaron rubs his afro and just says, "Don't worry, I'll help you out with it. Come at my office tomorrow, and I'll help you with that." And there where Sasha comes, and then Aaron pulls out a bag, and she looks in the bag. She sees some fries, some chicken, with a soda, and Aaron says, "I like you. You're funny." And he laughs and chuckles, and he goes into like the recruit where the recruits were eating, and he walks up to his story and he kisses her story on the neck, and she looks at him and kisses him on the cheek, and then Mikasa comes around and hugs Aaron from the back, and Aaron kisses her and says, I'm not sleeping with you tonight because yeah, I got my own cabin to go to, so we can't like be interacting with like the recruits like that." So he says he has to go, and Aaron leaves. The next day comes around, and Connie comes to Aaron's office where Aaron was doing paperwork. Aaron gets up and pulls out a drawer and pulls out a buzzer, scissors, and a comb and a brush. Aaron tells him sit down, and he pulls out a, well, basically a cloak, and wraps it and puts it around him and says, "This is gonna take a while." And then time skip. We see Connie with his hair slicked back, but the sides of his hair has been cut off, and some strands of his hair is going off, like a few strands, not enough to be noticed. And he now has, and his hair has a perfect lineup that he so needed. That shit, his hairline was fucked up. Anyways, Connie is just, he thanks Aaron, and Aaron says it's okay, and Aaron goes, and Connie goes back to training, and Aaron excused Connie, so no one really cared. And when they saw Connie again, they were like, "Yo, what happened to you? You look so different now. Like the fuck?" And Connie just kind of smiles and says, "It's all thanks to Aaron Sensei," and they leave, or Captain Aaron, whatever you want to say, fuck it. And this is where Levi comes into Aaron's office and says, "We have a mission," and Aaron says, "Oh, missions," and he goes, "Time skip." Aaron is waiting outside. We see Mikasa, Historia, Connie, Horseface, Sasha, and the others. We see them we see all of them on bikes, and a big, huge truck is out there, and Armin's right next to Aaron. Aaron says, "Yes, we're gonna be going out of the walls, but we will not," and I repeat, we will not see the sea today, because, and Armin says why, and Aaron says because that's not our mission. We are focused on the mission, and the last day of the mission, or the last part of the mission, I have integrated for everyone in the country to go to see the sea. Armin nods his head and they go off. Aaron goes off, and they've been traveling for a while, and Aaron sees some Titans up ahead. He jumps off the bike and put the bike in autopilot. So the bike has sensors, so if the bike comes too close, it will go back, and if it goes back too far, it will keep forward. So there's no way it's gonna fall or get crashed. Aaron jumps off and kills all the Titans in the way, and he hops back onto his bike, takes it off autopilot, and he keeps on going. Eventually, they reach where their destination was. All they could see is honey and honey and honey. But they didn't know it was honey, but that's all they can see. And it says, "This place is populated by overgrown bees." I hate bees, but they're overgrown. They're overgrown because of the genetic mutation that they have now, because they've not been kept and they have not been exterminated before. So over time they evolved and they turned into big bees, or what I like to call them, titan bees. They're not as big as titans, but they're big as a horse. So basically, they to them to the normal standards they are titan bees. So Aaron But he then says, and then he says fire, and then canisters of this canister, and then it explodes. Then the canister explodes with a mist, and then he says, "This shall knock them out," and they charge in. And then Aaron puts them on the ground, and all the honey that was just everywhere, and the honey nest, and everything got sucked up into this barrel. And Aaron took two of the overgrown bees, the queen, and four random ones. This is where we're gonna end off this what if, guys. So see ya.